Welcome to video number 1. In this video we're going to go over the core principle of pelvic stabilization, which could arguably be said to be the most important principle in Pilates of keeping the pelvis stable while moving other parts of the body. So we're going to start in a seated position to lie down on the mat, and you'll just take your arms out in front of you and very slowly roll down, as slowly basically as you can go, and then bring your arms down to your sides. And first we'll talk about where we want to position the pelvis in general while doing the exercises of lying on the back. If you take your hands into a triangle position and place that triangle on your pelvis, you'll want to see that your fingertips, if you lift your head, your fingertips and your thumbs are in equal plane with one another, rather than having the fingertips be higher or having your thumbs be higher. And this ensures that the pelvis isn't too tucked and it isn't too arched. This is not probably universally true for 100% of the human population, but for a very, very large percentage of people, this is going to feel like a position that may not be the most natural, but it's the most stable and well aligned for all the parts of the body. So from that place of keeping the triangle parallel with the floor, you'll take an inhale, feeling your breath big into the mat behind you, and then on your exhale you can lift one knee up above the hip and then inhale and bring it back down. And then switch legs, taking the other leg up above the hip and then bringing it back down. So these are called knee folds. You don't have to keep your hands on your pelvis. I just sometimes like to, especially for people who are new and aren't sure maybe where their pelvis is in space. But if you have the hang of this, you can take your arms down to your sides and help stabilize with your arms pressing down into your mat or your floor surface. And then if you'd like more challenge for more of a level 2 on this exercise, you can keep one knee up in the air and then exhale the other knee up to meet it. And from there, this is also called knee folds. Sometimes it's also called running in place. You can tap either the toes or the heels on the mat, and you might not even go all the way to the mat. That's fine if you just go halfway down and then lift, or you can, for even more challenge, for more of level 3, take both legs down. And the thing to watch for is you don't want to let your back come off of the mat if you go all the way down, because then you're using your back muscles to pull your legs back up. So you'd want it to be really, really controlled in the core while letting the legs come down. And they probably won't come quite all the way to the floor. So from there, go ahead and set one leg and then the other leg back down on the mat. Take your hands behind your head, and I like to interlace the fingers all the way so that the head is really supported, well supported. And I like to have the elbows a little bit forward rather than all the way out to the sides here, so that the shoulders can relax all the way. And on your exhale again, you'll lift your head and just curl up away from the mat until you feel some challenge in your upper abdominals, and then inhale and come back down. So the exhale we usually try to do on the hardest part of the exercise because it actually helps facilitate an abdominal contraction. And I'm going to try and stay up here on the next one. You could bring your hands behind your thighs if you want some help getting up a little bit higher. And again, if this doesn't feel good on your neck, you can just keep your head down the entire time and just do the second piece of this exercise, which is going to be to add the knee folds. So again, level 1, this is actually starting to be more of a level 2 because we're now combining the knee folds with this cervical curl of the head off of the mat. But you can then leave a leg in the air and add your running in place, or you could do that with both legs. I'm not going to try and do that because I'm talking at the same time. And then from there you can let one foot and the other foot come back to the mat. So the next thing we're going to talk about is half rollbacks, and I'm going to actually change that plan, and we're going to go to one leg lift, right?
Shoulder bridge.
Shoulder bridge with the one leg lift. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is a shoulder bridge, and you'll have your arms down at your sides, and you could do this either by tucking your pelvis to lift the hips off the mat, or you can just lift right up. Either way is fine with me, but you'll want to think of your heels coming in as
Sorry,
close.
can we pause?
Yeah.
When you
This is weird. My skirt.
you do that, like coming back in, can
Yeah.
you do it without the sew in the front of that?
Sure. The next exercise we'll be doing is shoulder bridge. raising your pelvis up off of the mat, you can either curl the tail up like this, or you can just do a straight lift of the pelvis up away from the mat. But you want to feel your heels really pulling back towards your hips, which might feel like you're sending your knees forward, and to get that full activation of the back side of the leg. And you also want to do a little bit of a tuck of the pelvis here, so feeling like your tail is reaching down towards your knees. And from there, we're going to inhale at the top, and then use an exhale to roll your spine back onto the mat from the top to the bottom, and let the pelvis go all the way back to neutral. Sometimes that step is forgotten, so we'll do that one more time. Inhaling to lift the hips. This next part is going to be more reasonable to ask of your body if your feet are all the way together. So you can place your feet together now if they're not already. And we're going to try and lift a leg up at the top. So this is essentially, again, combining the knee fold with the shoulder bridge now. And you can just lift one knee up above the hip and bring that foot back down and switch sides. And this would be sort of level 2 of the shoulder bridge. And then if you want to add more challenge, we can try straightening the leg, and they're doing straight leg kicks down and up. So you don't have to actually go all the way down to the mat either, but you're trying to keep the pelvis as still as possible while doing these kicks and while doing the knee fold as well. And while we inhale usually on the easier part of the exercise and exhale on the harder part of the exercise, you're gonna have to just be breathing throughout on this one because you're up there for so long. So just choose if you're inhaling to kick the leg down or exhaling to kick the leg down, and then stay consistent. So I'm gonna bring the arms back about halfway to the mat behind me, or you can go all the way as long as you have the feeling that you're able to keep the ribs down. And then rounding the head off the mat, just like the cervical curl, we're gonna go all the way up to that seated position and do the half roll back. So the arms will reach out in front, and you'll do a small roll back toward the mat, just to the place where it feels challenging, and then curl back up. So depending on the shape of your back, it might be at the very beginning that it feels challenging, or it might be down closer to the mat, but wherever it feels challenging, you can just stop and pause there and get some good upper abdominal work. So again, the inhale is the way back, and then the exhale is where you need the help, so you can come up. So there will be some more information in the next video about how to advance that, rolling all the way down into the mat, but that's usually the way we start, is with the half roll back. That's it for video number 1, and see you in video 2.